Hello. So I'm jumping on today. I hope you've seen my little notifications to let you know that I'm going to be going live to show you all another recipe. So this one's a free one on the blog. I know you love to see the ones that are also on the blog because I want to vary it so it's not always just the ones from the cookbooks. So this one's the French biscuits. I actually don't know why they're called French biscuits, but they're French biscuits. And it's a really, really nice recipe. They're a little bit like fancy, but actually quite simple to make once you've seen how to make them. So excited to show you how to make this recipe. This one's a recipe from my mum, actually. And I love showing you recipes from my family because when someone makes a recipe really good in our family, I guarantee you it's the best because they just perfect their recipes that they're good at. And my mum's very good at her sweets and desserts. So if you've ever tried our galdaboudiko, which is the Greek custard, or the bugutses, which is the custard phyllo rolls, that's her recipe. And I know heaps of you have tried it and know how awesome that recipe is. So you'll know that this recipe is just as good as that one because it's one of her specialty recipes. It's usually the recipe that we have when people come over or that we gift to people because it just lasts so long in a nice container. I usually keep my biscuits and things in a tin just so they stay nice and crunchy. And it's just a beautiful one to bring out because they look really fancy. So let me show you what it looks like on the blog. So you can find it, French biscuit recipe for your Thermomix. And that's what it looks like. And now in the recipe, you can use different types of nuts. It's really up to you, but I just love the look of the almonds and the pistachios. You can see the colors. It just makes it pop and make it look beautiful. And I'll show you how to make that today. So I'm really excited to show you it. These are ones I've just started to prepare now so I can actually show you the process and how they end up like this. These are not exactly finished yet, but I'll explain that to you as we start cooking. So let's get cooking. Let me just set this up. Now, if you're jumping on live with me, I'd love for you to leave a comment. Let me know where you're from, or if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask them and I'll try and answer them as I go or at the end or after. So like I said, the recipe calls for 400 grams of almonds. Now, it does have a note there to say you could use pistachios or any of your preferred nuts. And like I said, it's really just the coating you're using this part for. So it just depends on what type of nuts you might prefer. Or if you have allergies, you can change them up as well. I haven't tried it with sunflower seeds, so I'm not sure if it'll work. I actually don't see why it wouldn't work. I just wouldn't turbo this sesame, seeds too much because they're a bit softer and they would just chop too much. So maybe just decrease the amount that you turbo these and you'll see that step in a second. So I've got some almonds and pistachios. I've done 200 grams of each, but honestly you can change it up. You can do 3 or 4 different nuts if you preferred. Now I've dried roast these already in my Thermomix bowl. So I put them on for 8 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1. And then what I've done is put them back in the bowl so they can be cool and ready so I could show you. You can also dry roast them in a pan if you prefer, if you want a bit more of that really roasted flavor. But honestly, I put them in the oven after and they get cooked again in the oven. So I don't feel like it really needs that step. But I know just some people really like really, really crunchy biscuits and things like that. I'm not one of those people. So it's really up to you and you can do anything that you prefer. So I just give you these tips so that you can cater these recipes to how you enjoy it and how you like it, because we all like different things and we all have different requirements, and we want to be able to have these variations so we can create different things depending on what we might have in the cupboard as well. So I hope those tips help you. Hello, I've got one from Singapore. Hi, how are you going? What time is it there? Oops, I'm dropping everything now. Now, I'm going to chop these up. So like I said to you, I've already dry roasted these. So they are already cool. It's really important that they are cool. Otherwise you're going to turn them into a nut butter rather than just chopping them. And it's really, really important that you chop these beautifully. Otherwise they're not going to coat your outside of your biscuit properly. Now it's really important. So I'm just going to put the Thermomix onto turbo, and I'm gonna put it on for 2 seconds because I've got hard nuts. If I was doing just pistachios, I wouldn't do it for so long because pistachios are a little bit softer. Because it's got the almonds in there as well, it needs 2 seconds, and I'll show you how beautiful. Actually, I should show you how beautiful they look before and after, because it's a real big difference, the 2 seconds, and what they look like. So let me just hop out of this for a second and show you, because I think it's gonna make a huge difference to you. Okay, so that's what they look like right now. I'm only gonna chop it for 2 seconds. You do not want to do more than 2 seconds. Let me tell you and show you why. Now this is gonna be super, 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 super loud, so just give me 2 seconds and it will be done. Just gonna throw this on. I might move this away for 2 seconds. See, done. Now, I wanna show you this. Let me get out of this and show you how perfect it comes out. Look at it. It's just perfect for making the, coating for the biscuits. Let me just show you. See this coating? See how they look, the outside? That's why it's really, really important to get a beautiful coating, because that's what the presentation of your biscuit is. 8 a.m. in Singapore. So not too bad. Good timing, hey? All right, so now I've already started making some biscuits, and because I like to show you what they look like at the end, otherwise it just doesn't, it's not, you don't know what it looks like in the end, and then you haven't finished knowing what to do. So hopefully that helps you. But I've prepared some nuts and I've just put it onto a tray. So you can see it's just like a tray. It really doesn't matter. And I can just literally pour the other lot on there as well. It's just, that's all you need to do so that it can be ready for when we need to use them, okay? But it's nice that you get the different sizes, so don't stress about that. That's beautiful. That's how it creates the beautiful coating for the biscuits. So now I'm just going to throw them all into that pan, and honestly, it doesn't even matter if there's a little bit left in there. Just tip out as much as you can. So it's pretty good, pretty empty, good enough. I'm not even going to wash the bowl. I'm just going to flip this back, and then I'm going to show you. I'm just trying to get my phone in a position where I'm not going to lose you guys, because I can see the connection keeps cutting out, as it does. All right, so now I'm adding some butter. Now, if you leave your butter out and it's nice and soft, you don't have to do this step. Just throw it in and keep going. But my butter is a little bit, because it's a bit cold here, it's not quite as soft as I would like it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it on for a minute and just warm it up a little bit so it melts a little bit. So throw it on for a minute. 60 degrees, speed 3, okay? And so that'll just melt it enough so that it's not so hard. It's like important so that you don't have chunks in your biscuit. For other recipes, it's not so important, but for this recipe, you'll definitely want to melt it a little bit. So for anyone who's just jumped on while the butter is melting, I just want to show you what we're making today. We're making these beautiful French biscuits, which I've already started to make. Just showing you the process of how to make them, and hopefully it helps you all these lives. Thanks for jumping on, everyone who's commenting in the comments. Really helps me to know that people are actually there and I'm not just talking. I might stop moving around because my internet keeps dropping. Hi Georgie, how are you? All right, so this sounds like it's melted, so I'm just going to stop it and keep going. So now I'm just going to add in the cream, the eggs, so 190 grams of cream, just pure cream. Then I use 2 eggs, 160 grams of brown sugar, and 250 grams of white sugar, okay? Just pop it all in. Very easy, okay? 2 eggs. And then I've just got the sugars. Much easier when I prep things, isn't it? Right, now you just want to blend that just a little bit just to start binding it together. So 10 seconds, speed 5. And that's just going to start creaming the butter. Right, then we're going to add some, I'm just going to grab the ingredients. So we're going to add some brandy, and I've got some vanilla and some cinnamon. Now, if you watched my marble cake video, I think I added cinnamon instead of cocoa. I've got the right things today. Actually, cacao will probably work in these too, but see how you can change ingredients up and it still works? That's what I love. Now let me just move this. All right, so this is the brandy and the vanilla. Then I've got just a teaspoon of cinnamon. Oh, I better give you the quantities. We've got 30 grams of brandy, and I like to use a good quality brandy because it really adds a beautiful flavor. And a teaspoon of vanilla. And then just mix that for 30 seconds on speed 6. Hello, Sophie from Adelaide. How are you going? I'd love to know if anyone's actually tried this recipe and what you think. I know there was a lady, I think she was in my testing team, and she had actually entered this recipe into a competition and it won. So see, I'm telling you, any biscuits and things that my mum makes, they're the best. She's just so good at her sweets and things like that. That's why it's pretty special when I can actually convert the recipe and actually perfect it, because sometimes it's really different. Sometimes it's just really different cooking it in a, you know, traditionally compared to in a Thermomix. And when you get those steps right, it's just really makes a big difference. It actually makes a softer biscuit when you make it in a Thermomix. Because you're not handling it so much, because the timings are so exact. And that's why I find it so important. Like, we put all our recipes through a testing team, and they test in all the different models of a Thermomix, so that, you know, if the quantities are different, so like this one might be, you know, for the TM5, which has a larger bowl. So if you have a smaller bowl, we usually have a little note there what you need to do to be able to cook it in your recipe. And the way we work with all that sort of things out is it makes sure we put it through our testing team, and each of them have different types of models. And then the recipes just become so perfect because everyone's a different level of cooking. And so it just, sometimes the wordings we use may be for maybe a higher level of a cook, and the people who don't cook very much might not understand it. And so when different levels of people who cook are trying our recipes, it just really helps to make sure that everyone can do this recipe. And hopefully these videos are helping you to perfect the recipes as well. So make sure you let me know that you like them in the comments, or like I said, if you have questions, make sure you leave them in the comments and I'll try and get to them as I can. So I have just added 700 grams of self-raising flours, and I'm just going to blend that up a couple of times. Now you will need to stop and scrape it because it's really, really thick. So you can see it's really pushing to mix it. If you have a smaller bowl, I would highly recommend halving this recipe because it's really pushing the limits of how much flour can go into this bowl. So I'll just stop that, and I might just show you, because I only do it maybe 3 times, and then let me just show you this. So you can see how it is mixing, but the top is a little bit struggling. So I just push it down like this. See, just push it so it actually mixes, and you're getting the stuff off the side, because that's what's going to make it struggle. And if you don't do that, it's just not going to mix properly. But you can always mix it by hand too, because it's just a sticky sort of mixture. So then just keep mixing it a couple of times. And you'll be able to hear it as it's mixing. So I'll just do this a couple more times, and then it's nearly ready. And then what you're going to do is you're going to let it sit for 20 minutes, okay? I know it's hard to sit, but clean your kitchen and put away your ingredients, and then your 20 minutes will be gone. Honestly, it makes the biggest difference to you hating this recipe to loving this recipe, because the mixture is going to come out so sticky, okay? And you're going to think, how am I going to turn this into a biscuit? And then when you've left it for the 20 minutes, that's what makes all the difference. And I will show you what big difference it will look like, because I've had one sitting, and you'll see like the texture, it just changes. It's like it all gets absorbed, and just it becomes really fluffy and able to be handled. What speed and time? Okay, so this one I'm putting it on for 10 seconds speed 6, and then I keep scraping it down until it looks something like that. Okay, easy. Okay, that's done. The mixture is done now. Now, let's move over here. And I just want to show you the difference. So this is the mixture. I'm just going to, can you hold this for a second? and then show you this. So this is, look how sticky it is, okay? See, it's not even coming off the spatula because it's very sticky. Now, I would tip this into a bowl. So you want to come over here? And look at this. Look how, like, it's not so sticky anymore. This is what it should look like after it finishes sitting for the 20 minutes, okay? So that's why it's really, really important. So I just put it into a big bowl like this, and then I just cover it with a towel and leave it sit there like that for 20 minutes, okay? After 20 minutes, you can start doing this. So remember at the beginning, we put our nuts into a little pan like this. Now I'm gonna show you what to do with this, okay? So this has been sitting for 20 minutes, and I'm gonna get about a tablespoon. Now don't get too much because they rise so much, okay? Now you can handle it a little bit with your hands if you want, but it's still a little bit sticky, okay? So what I prefer to do is I just put it into the mixture and I roll it. Now make sure you get the ends as well. And then what I do, this is just always the shape that we've done, but you could do other shapes if you want, but this is just what we've always done. So, and this is how I remember seeing them, and as I always say to you, I just really like to keep the traditions and the stories and, you know, the recipes to who gave them to us. So this is how Mum's always done it. This is how I'm going to do it, okay? So just curve it a little bit, and then they're just going to puff up, okay? They really puff up. That's how big I made the other ones. Let me get the other ones to remind you. Like, see, look how big that has puffed up. They become huge, okay? So now I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna make the whole tray. Let me do a couple more so you can see. Try not to get too much. Just roll it out. And honestly, get a bit of the big ones, get a little bit of the small stuff, because see how there's all different? Like there's big and little nuts. You want a bit of both. You don't want just the big nuts, you want a bit of the little nuts too to coat it, because when they spread out, okay, and then just, it doesn't have to be perfect, because like I said, they're gonna pop up and they're gonna spread out, but I probably only put about 3 in a row on this tray. And honestly, you can make them bigger or smaller, it just depends how you like them. I personally don't want them any bigger than that because they're quite big. And just keep doing that. So that's how I have done those ones, and I probably wouldn't do too many more than that because they could, you know, get bigger and start touching, and then yeah, you don't want that. Now, once these go into the oven, they need about, I'd say about 15 minutes to cook. They don't go completely brown, okay? They go a little bit brown underneath, but you won't be able to pick them up like this when they first come out because they will be soft. Now, once they are all cooked, what I would do is put them all onto a tray or a big, big pan if you have one, and put them into the oven and turn the oven off, okay? And what will happen is they will just go really, really, really hard and crunchy, okay? You don't want the oven on for the last bit. You just want to put all the biscuits on a tray or two, put it back in the oven, turn it off, and leave it there until the oven's cold, okay? Because then the biscuits will go cold too, and they would have just gone a little bit crunchy while they were sitting in that warm heat. And then that's perfect. That's your biscuit done. As easy as that. They do take a little bit of time, but like I said, these are beautiful biscuits to have in your cupboard for whenever you want them. And beautiful to, to go with a coffee or give out to your friends or your teachers, send them to your husband's work. Get rid of them wherever you like, but they're beautiful biscuits and they taste amazing. So love to hear if you try them. I might just grab the camera and see if there's any messages or any comments. Let me just turn this around. But yes, thank you so much for jumping on with me. I hope you loved the French biscuits. If anyone knows why they're called French biscuits, I'd actually love to know. But that's just the name we've always known for them. But love for you to try them, and excited that you've jumped on with me. And thanks, guys. I'll chat to you soon. See you later.